Hey, what's up, New Zealand and the world? Lucas Lawman's here at Kiwi Voice. Sitting in the studio with Gaylene, your producer or director or
both.
Both.
Yeah.
Of the upcoming River of Freedom documentary. I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen the initial high-quality teaser that's been put out there. So we've got the privilege of sitting with Gaylene as the work continues on. To get a bit of an understanding of the documentary and hear a bit about the whole process. So awesome to have you on. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for coming, Lucas.
Awesome.
It's exciting.
That's really cool to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, we'll dive into it just straight off. What sort of brought this about? What motivated you? What was the start point for this whole journey with River of Freedom?
I actually won a big pitch prize with Sparta.
Okay.
So I pitched a feature film about a protest that was happening in the 70s.
Yep.
Where families were being divided because of, an antagonist. It was a narrative feature.
Did we say Sparta?
Sparta is the Screen Producers and Directors Association.
Okay. Yep.
So it's called the Big Pitch, and it's a prize, and I did that in December, and I got a little bit of seed money.
Yep.
I won the competition.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I was also that was like 2 weeks before the traffic lights kicked in. And I had decided I wasn't going to be able to direct or produce all of next year, so I decided, I'm just going to write.
Yes, fair enough.
I'm going to write scripts and just going to stay at home and do all that.
Yep.
And then...
something they can't take away from you.
Yeah!
Yeah.
And then, because there was just no way I was going to take that shit. I wouldn't even give it to my sheep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an organic farmer.
Yep.
And I would not be allowed to give that... injection to my sheep. Wouldn't even be able to import it for my animals.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, why would I put it in my body
Yes.
if I can't even put it in my sheep, right?
Yes. Yeah, understand. 100%. Yeah.
So I was definitely on the not going to be vaccinated side of the fence.
Yeah.
So I had the seed money, and it was about a convoy. This film I was writing in the 70s.
Right.
It was about a protest.
Okay.
It was about a protest that happened in the 70s that galvanised a community.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I got money to research it. And then the convoy turned up.
Yes.
And I went, oh, well, that's...
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
It's almost like it's meant to be. That's crazy. Yeah.
And as instantly I saw it, I went, I'm going to have to go.
Yep.
I'm going to have to give up my little, because we're all like that. We're all kind of all in our little shells around January,
absolutely.
February.
I think it took for a lot of people to get out of that.
Yeah.
Me included. Yeah. Initially. Yeah.
And I just thought, right, I'm going to go down to Bluff. I rang up the New Zealand truckies and I said, please, do you have a documentary crew? Can I come along? I have a camera, I can sort of do the, I just behind the scenes.
Yep.
Researched this woman, her name was Jess, and Derek, who founded the convoy.
Okay.
I was really interested in them as research for my characters, for my film.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah.
But also because I supported it and I wanted to actually just go on the convoy.
So winning all round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they said, we don't have a documentary crew. And I thought, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you should.
Yes.
It's going to be, I knew it was going to be historical and someone has to document it right from the beginning. You got to get that behind the scenes, the day before.
You've got to get ahead of it. Because to be honest, I know you're saying you knew it was going to be historical, but I felt like I just wasn't sure. I think, I wanted it to be. And obviously things happened. But, so it's interesting that you had that foresight. Yeah. Yeah.
I've just spent the last 10 years doing disaster films in Christchurch.
Okay. Yeah.
And the footage that was got, or the people that were in the moment saw, were able to be there and film what was happening at the time. They were able to tell the stories. Yeah. And so I always thought to myself, I really just have to make sure I'm Johnny on the spot.
Yes.
If that's ever going to happen again. Yeah. And so I decided I'd do. I got a friend, Heidi. She came along to help me with the driving.
Yep.
I got my little camera, which is just not even. It was okay. I've got good audio, right?
Yes.
So I got good interviews.
Excellent.
But I contacted a cinematographer who's amazing, like top of the line cinematographer.
Nice.
Friend who had liked the convoy page.
Yeah. So you're sussing it out. Yep.
Oh, he likes it, so he might be interested in filming it.
This is the position that a lot of us are in. You just didn't know what you could approach and what you couldn't, who you could. Yeah.
And then my friend, Heidi in Darfield was like, well, she liked it too. So, you give them that call,
yes.
and it's like, yes.
Yeah. Come with me on this journey.
Come with me down to Bluff tomorrow.
Yeah. Excellent.
And she was like, I'm not even at home yet. Anyway, we did it. We worked it out.
Yeah.
But I rang Mark. He's award-winning cinematographer, one of the top 5 or 10 in New Zealand.
Awesome.
And he was like, yes, this is what... Because he was mandated out as well, not able to work. It's really difficult. Like, I couldn't, as a director, I couldn't go into council meetings. You know what it's like.
Yes.
Couldn't go into cafes, couldn't go into buildings.
It touched all sectors of society.
Yeah, there was just no way to even try to sort of do anything. So, everyone was in that boat. And he was like, absolutely, I'll do the North Island. Yeah, so he travelled up. He got a Canadian friend of his, and he travelled up to the North Island to Cape Reinga.
Yep.
I went down to Bluff, and we just...
And there was some of that in the teaser that's been put out already, right?
Yeah.
The starting initially.
Yeah.
There's a few shots there of that.
Yeah. So he's got a drone.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect.
And then I organised some cameramen here when we were in Christchurch to get a drone. And, just once I saw it was going to be a little bit more than just Gaylene out there with her little.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be bigger than that.
Yeah. I thought, I better organise a few more.
Yeah. Awesome.
Bodies,
awesome.
And then Mark organised some more people in Wellington, and then he stayed in Wellington for a day, and then we just tagged with some other people in Wellington, and then more filmmakers turned up.
Yep.
And Jared, who came on board as a producer, he was there with a portacom for everybody to store their gear.
Awesome.
So we actually got quite
got into almost like the spirit of the actual protest itself, and just everyone coming together for a common thing.
Yeah. So we're all volunteer filmmakers.
Yep.
So it's probably maybe 8 to 10.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and I stayed in Picton for quite a bit, and then kind of organised / got a ride with the pirate ship.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, that's a great sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
A pirate ship into Wellington, right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so Greg, the captain there, he was real keen, and so we all hopped on that boat. None of us wanted to catch the ferry.
Yeah.
At that time, I think you had to have a PCR test.
I think so, yeah. I think it was something like that, yeah. Yeah, and there was a lot of people that came from, to various parts of the South Island, ended up in Picton and didn't go across.
Yeah.
They just had to camp there, which was something else as well. Did you get quite a bit of that in Picton?
Yeah, I was shooting a lot in Picton, so, which is great, because it was a really supportive community that fed a lot of what was happening in Wellington, and... and there's also a camp in Christchurch. We did actually film there as well.
Yeah.
Just had a team of cameramen sprinkled remotely around, and eventually I did go to Wellington.
Yep.
Mark turned back up. We had a sound guy. They go, we need a director, and I'm like, I don't want to go to Wellington. I don't want to catch the ferry.
Yeah.
But then we got the pirate ship.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
It was 8 to 10 hours on the high seas.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
Yeah, okay, maybe not quite so awesome that you got across.
The only way I was able to hold my stomach together is I filmed the whole time. I'm like, or I stood up.
There's my alternate reality. This isn't really happening. It's all in here.
It's not here. I'm not sick.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get sick.
Yeah, it was a long time ago that I last did a ferry crossing, and it was a bit like that. And I feel you. Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal at all. So, got this group of sort of 10 odd, like you say, different filmmakers, etc. Have you got other footage from elsewhere as well? Did you put a call out at one stage asking for footage and different bits and pieces come through, or have I got that wrong? Or?
Yeah, we did. Just sort of some of the more live streams, moments that we weren't there for.
Yep.
Like, for instance, I was there, when the cars came through the bollards?
Yep.
I was on the other side.
Okay, right.
I heard the commotion,
and
I found out later. We went there about 5 minutes after, and I was going, darn. So just things like that we just sort of miss. But we're not obviously going to be able to tell the whole story of everything that happened.
Oh, there's just so much going on. Much going on. Yeah.
So, so we've got lots of really amazing footage has come in as well from other filmmakers who were there who we didn't catch up with, we didn't meet, you know.
Yeah.
And then we brought in editors, came on board after that.
Yeah. Hey, editors.
Yes,
Hey.
Ben and Leanne.
Ben and Leanne, yeah. Doing awesome work over there. Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We've been editing remotely. Like, with Premiere, you've got team projects, and you can all work on the same project.
Got you. Yeah.
It's just got so big that just got all twisted and tangled up.
Okay. Yeah.
And
from a technological point of view, yeah.
It's just Ben's come down from Wellington for the week.
Yep.
And we're here talking.
Okay. Yeah. Makes life so much easier, right?
Hasn't it been great, Ben?
Yeah.
To actually just have conversation while you're editing and just talking about the story and things you need to change and shift.
Yeah.
And you can do so much on your own, but you have to have conversations.
Yes, it's everything. Yeah.
Like, this
100%.
is why it's great what you're doing, having a conversation.
Yes.
Because we're missing this in our world, aren't we?
100%.
Virtual.
Well, look, you miss the energy from people, depending on how much of that you believe in. You miss the facial expressions and the cues, and the understanding is completely different when you're sitting in front of them. People, that's one thing that I work in a corporate business. It's the one thing that they've continued to get right, at least the one I'm working in, is that they value that still, the face-to-face. For all of those reasons, you're always going to get so much more done face-to-face. So it's cool that you can all sort of get together. So so we've had we've posted it on Kiwi Voice. We had the 12-minute prequel or the trailer.
Yes.
What's the response been like to that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really, really great.
Yeah.
I was amazed. We had made that little... I have actually made a 40-minute teaser, which probably should just be the film, actually, because now we've got a 5-hour film.
Yeah.
And then, so we shortened that down to, 12 minutes to show and to try and get some money, to try and get investors, because we had nothing.
So that was the idea behind it.
We were at zero, and I'm still this is, for me, it's still voluntary.
Yeah.
But I need help, we need to pay editors, and you have to pay people because they've got jobs, they've got things they have to do, live their lives.
Yeah.
So we realised this is not going to happen very fast if I don't have some funds to pay people.
Yeah.
And so we had this little teaser made. We're going to go and show it to some investors or funders or something like that.
Do the usual route, yeah.
And then Fire and Fury came out.
Yay! What a lovely piece of filmmaking that was.
Wow.
We reviewed it on Kiwi Voice. I pulled it apart, or attempted to pull it apart.
Thank you. I mean, because I'm just sitting there going...
I did a little bit of a piss take. I don't know if you saw it. I called it Water and Peace.
Water and Peace. Yeah.
That's the idea behind it.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Someone called it something really good. Fire and...
Oh, there's been a lot out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, astonishing. So anyway, that came out.
So that came out, and I sat there on the Sunday morning. I heard, saw it was coming out, and I watched it first thing, and I went, we have to get our teaser out, like, ASAP.
Yeah.
Just to put some perspective in there and some truth.
Yes.
About what happened, because what we had a bit more. We were in with the people, and we weren't just there on the last day filming the police riot.
Or picking up some of the mainstream media footage and plastering it together, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's not a co-puppet. That's not how we're making this film. And that sort of
yes,
because it's very deceitful and it's very manipulative, and even as an editing techniques they were using and the music, and it was manipulative.
Very much so.
Yeah. And so we're trying to just be who the people were, what happened, and why it happened.
Yes.
So that's the film we're trying to tell.
Yep.
Not trying to be fancy, but it'll be good.
Well, there would to be honest, we got a really good response. Even just posting the link to the YouTube of the trailer, and it is very professional. I'm doing this whole thing with phones, etc. As we discussed, but. Even from my experience, I can tell it's off that trailer. It's going to be entertaining, at least in terms of the pace, and that's what I can pick up from that 12-minute trailer and style of editing and the emotion that's being conveyed in that. I think you're definitely onto a winner there. Yeah.
It's about being with the people.
Yes.
Yeah, and any good documentary maker, it's all about the access that you have.
Yeah.
You know, and those media did not have access from their balcony, and they came in to provoke.
Yes.
We have a scene in the film where that's what they were doing.
Right.
The way they're talking to the protesters,
Yes.
is their tone is provocative.
Yeah.
They're accusing the protesters, and they say, "Oh, they didn't want us there. They kicked us out all the time." You
Yes.
know, it's like, well, you know, you weren't asking the nice questions. You weren't asking the right questions. You weren't engaging. You weren't even listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it helped that we were supportive.
Yeah.
But that's access, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm not a journalist. I'm a documentary maker.
Yeah.
And so when we pull the story together, you know, we are operating from that heart to heart, as you say. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they essentially had that mainstream media where it was a very clear sort of symbolic sight when you saw them all lined up at the level 1 of the Parliament building, looking down. Trevor Mallard standing behind them with his hand on his hips. And the scene that was placed in Fire and Fury, where is it Kate Hanna or no, Paula Penfold gets chased out per se. You know, they were saying they were basically just saying we don't want you here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was used to effect and dramatised and repeated over and over and over. So like you say, the editing techniques, etc.
And you know, I'm really quite proud of the protester. I can't remember her name, who stuck to her guns in that interview.
Yeah.
When Paula Penfold was being really hard-nosed and trying to force her to change her mind in the interview.
Yes, yeah, I remember, I know what you mean.
And she just held to her truth.
Yes.
So, you know, good on her.
Yeah. I mean,
if you're listening.
Yeah, because it's not easy. It's
you know, it's not.
It's definitely not easy.
Yeah, and but we were asked all the time, who are you with?
Right.
Who are you with?
I get that all the time. I get all the time the protests and that, if they don't know who you are. Yep. Yeah.
And because there was, at the time, there was an us versus them. And I'm sorry, you know, I know that we don't, that was the whole problem.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't us that created it.
Yeah.
It was them.
Yes. Yeah, I know you have to laugh, but you're right. It's a top-down situation, and that's where we've got to. So you can understand the people's feelings asking that.
Yeah, so that's right. So I'm telling a film about us.
Yep. And
I have enough challenges trying to balance the all the stories and what was going on with us at the Parliament protest and on the convoy.
Yeah.
But and without trying to talk to them, but I'm trying to find a way to sort of for it to be not so just this is our story, but it's also a little bit embracing and open and a little bit healing potentially.
Yes.
You know,
I think a lot of people are going to be looking for some of that sort of feeling.
I mean, it's not just coming from me. It's just coming from what the people I interviewed are saying and the stories. I mean, because they were good people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
This is what I think it's not understood.
Not a river of filth. Or whatever.
And they had compassion and they had empathy and they had empathy for everyone.
I've spoken to a number of people at protests and bits and pieces and different events that we've covered, and so many people are still saying it was one of the most significant events of their life.
Yeah.
You know, the way that everyone came together, the unity, etc. I mean, did you feel some of that sort of that passion, that vibe when
100%.
you were there? Yeah.
And what I loved was the diversity of the people.
Yeah.
There were young teenagers and kaumātua and Black Power and Christians hanging out.
Yes. Business people and doctors and teachers and all different professions and
getting on.
Yes.
And I was like, this is how you do it.
Yep.
Because we all are actually good people at the bottom of all of this.
Of course.
And what makes me most upset is the fire and the furies and the webs of chaos and all that. They're just still living on hate, and they're still trying to feed this hate.
Yes.
When actually we really just need to come, with some humanity about our basic humanity for all of us. So we are all good people. We all want to just live
Yes.
Good lives, and we do want to take care of the environment. We want to take care of ourselves, and we're not going to kill Granny.
Yes. Yes.
And it was just this infant, in terms of the government's point of view, it was the way they were treating us like toddlers and not giving understanding that, we're all human, and we're all adults.
There's more in common. That's the thing that I try and say a lot on Kiwi Voice is, I've interviewed people that I don't believe in a bunch of their beliefs, but I've found them really nice people and had great conversation, because you can put that stuff you disagree on to the side, and there's so much more that you agree on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and that's what's missing, I think, a lot of the time in the conversation.
Yeah, and having all those people together, it just taught everybody tolerance.
Yep.
Yeah, because obviously you are hearing views you don't agree with.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, that's something to think about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you can approach it with humility and tolerance, like I said, then you're always going to get a better result. So we've had the trailer out for a while. We've had a great response from it. It's been on YouTube. What's happening with the funding, etc.? Where you're at with that? What's the timelines? Yeah, all of that stuff.
So we set up a Buy Me a Coffee thing. Yeah, so after that Fire and Fury documentary, I saw we needed to get that teaser out to the public as soon as possible, and maybe we could just do a crowdfunding. I just thought, let's just give it a go. It's terrifying to do that, but and so I said,
us Kiwis don't like asking.
I'm the worst.
Yeah, I hate asking. People keep offering, but
that's why there's a really good producing team. So I'm sort of more the directing role.
Yep.
Because they do all that.
All there.
But I set up that Buy Me a Coffee page, which is really great.
We'll get the link for that up in the description of this.
And we just thought we'd see how it goes. Yep. And I just liked it because it was $5 or whatever you like.
Yep.
So we had we've had 1,300, I think, people donating.
Wow, awesome!
And so that's their supporters as well. And more than that, there are people who are going to come to see the film.
Yes. Yeah, so it's going to have a theatrical release?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Because like you, it's face to face.
Yes.
You have to sit beside each other and cry together and
that's a great.
And have some time together. I really want to. Yeah. I just hope we get some good cinemas coming on board.
Awesome.
We've already got a couple who are pretty supportive.
Cool. So you get some independence and
yeah.
Fantastic.
And we had $5 donations. We've had $1,000 donations. Yep. Yeah, and we've had A-list celebrities donating. And we've had people who are in the convoy and said, look, I've been mandated out. I can only give you $5. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, those are I get the old one here or there. Those, I know what you mean. It's quite humbling.
Yeah, it is. But every dollar really helps because it just keeps being here, and Leanne and the team, and we've got composers, we've got sound editors coming up soon. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of sound all over the place. There's a lot of different frame rates.
Yes.
There's a lot of technical problems.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I mean, for those people that haven't been involved in a production of the sort, there is a lot that goes on and a lot of cost involved if you're going to do it properly. So check out that Buy Me a Coffee page if it's something that you think you'd like to support. So what's the timeline now, Gaylene? When can we see this thing?
I'm probably not allowed to give away the day.
Okay, yeah. Have you got an actual date, though?
Well, not really.
Not really,
we just
target,
we're going to wait till we've got it finished.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
We feel like we cracked reel 3, Ben?
It's coming along.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful. The whole March the 2nd, the riot day. It's going to be dynamite.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Amazing.
But heart.
Yes.
More heart than Fire and Fury.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and you can angle it that way.
Yeah.
Like focus on what the parts that you want to focus with, the positive message you want to convey.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
And ready to export there, Ben?
Yeah. Ready to go.
So we're looking new year though. New year.
Well, definitely in that first quarter, I would hope.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, don't want to hold you to anything specific, but we'll keep in touch and be cool to have you keep us updated as well.
Okay,
so.
I'd love for you to.
Yeah, and we'll do a promotion thing or whatever. I mean, I'm looking forward to it personally, big time. I know a lot of Kiwi Voice watchers and followers are as well.
Did you see the last teaser I made, the 4-minute one?
I should have.
Yeah.
But it's on sort of the watch list.
Yeah, so we just did something about the people to celebrate that mandated.
Of course, that's right. I did read that. Yep.
Yeah, the people who are mandated out, and just really talking to what the government did to people, the cruelty of it all. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's tracking at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, we in the YouTube one we had 25,000 views on YouTube, and what was quite good about it was that level of engagement stayed.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you get that drop off, and then they drop off after a few minutes.
Yep.
There was that first drop off, but then
average view duration.
but
gotcha.
The people who stayed, they stayed right to the end of the 12 minutes. It's quite a long time.
Yeah, in this current day and age. That's the thing.
Long for a teaser.
Yes, absolutely. So that's awesome. That's fantastic, and we'll get the I'll watch, and then we'll get up the 4-minute one as well, just as a bit of a push for people also. So. Hey, look, that's fantastic. It's really cool to be actually in the studio with you guys. I'm super excited for it all. As I say, I know a lot of our watchers out there are as well. Is there anything else you wanted to get out there? Any other message for the people out in Kiwi Voice land regards to the film, or otherwise, it's up to you. I'm putting you on the stage.
I knew it. I knew you always expect this question. So I had it last time. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, the idea generally of Kiwi Voice, the reason behind the name, I get hassled for it a bit because it's kind of grandeur. I often get "you're not my voice," etc. But the point was for Kiwis from all walks of life to be able to have a voice on a platform where more than a few people are watching, kind of thing. So that's the idea. So I always chuck it out there for you can say whatever you like around the project or anything else if you wish.
Well, I suppose one thing I am feeling a little bit concerned about is what potentially is sort of happening with the Māori and this Pākehā and this co-governance thing. And when we had such hot support from Māori at the protest, we had mana whenua, we had tangata whenua, and they're all in here. 30% were there, and the Pākehā who were there really awhi'd them and supported their calls.
The way we would hope it to be.
Yeah, and they've been mandated for a couple of 100 years, and like the jab in the arm is the same as the surveying peg on their whenua, it's a whenua. So I'm just really hoping that we can kind of understand that, as Europeans, and just really be with them.
Understand the cultural significance a little bit more. I mean, I think there is a theory that the whole push for co-governance in so many different areas, obviously Three Waters is the big one, is, it comes from a place, a good place, and it's trying to make up for past things, etc. I don't prescribe to that. I think there's something else behind that.
I think there's quite a different perspective in Māoridom as well. They all don't agree with
100%. Oh, it's a very, 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 very,
and it has become, unfortunately, a bit of a flashpoint without any discussion, and it was a little bit of a mistake the way they went about that. And, we need to have a good discussion about it, and obviously that would be something that, if we were living in a democracy...
exactly. You're exactly right.
We might have had a really good talk about it.
Yes, I think that's what's lacking. The big issue that is sort of wide across pretty much everything that we cover and talk about on Kiwi Voice is the fact that we struggle to have a conversation in the public arena anymore, or political arena anymore. At least on a majority of things. There's some things that are openly talked about, but majority of things, it's our way or the highway or silenced. Kind of thing, and co-governance is definitely part of that. Specifically around the Three Waters.
And I just think it's another thing they've thrown in there to divide us.
Yes.
If we could just sort of see it as just another tool of the.
And don't pay so much credence to it, and get together ourselves and have the conversation ourselves. So, I mean, that's why I've pushed it. I mean, I interviewed Brian Tamakita, one of the most controversial figures in New Zealand, and I sat down with him for an hour and a half, and it blew up, and it's not someone that I potentially would have before, but for that exact reason, it's like, well, we've got to keep this conversation open, we can't just let this stuff continue to divide us. So, I don't agree with some of his views, but otherwise I found him a really nice guy, so, what do you do? That's the thing. You've got to keep the conversations going.
So, we can... I personally, I don't know. But don't want it to create division.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think by what we've seen so far with River of Freedom, it's going to bring a lot of people together in a physical sense at the premieres and screenings, etc., as well as an emotional and spiritual sense for a lot of these people that either went to Wellington or supported Wellington. We're all really, really looking forward to it. So thank you for your work. Thank you guys for your work.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate what you're doing, putting together. So yeah, we'll get the link up for the trailers, or the teasers, etc. Again, we'll get the link up for the Buy Me a Coffee. Thanks for everything, and we'll keep in touch and do an update a bit later on, perhaps.
Yep. Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaylene.
Awesome.
Thanks, team. Share this link around. Get in the conversation below. Remember to keep it respectful as per always. Let people know about River of Freedom if you think it's something that they should know about. But for now, stay safe, stay free, and we'll see you again real soon. Awesome. I think that'll do it.
Cool bananas.